Welcome back to the Living in Orange County, California channel. This is Sean and Courtney here. We are part of the original Living in Orange County team. Now, if you are thinking about moving out here to beautiful Irvine, California, you are going to want to get out a piece of paper and a pen because this is the only video that you're ever going to need to watch.
Big words.
Well, maybe if you're only going to watch one video, watch this video because we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of Irvine. We're going to talk about the major roads. We're going to talk about its location. We're going to talk about the different neighborhoods. We're going to talk about its schools. We're going to talk about crime and safety. We're going to talk about jobs, home prices, cost of living, all of the things that you need to take into consideration if you are thinking about moving out here to beautiful Irvine, California. So let's get started. So let's start off by just showing you one of the biggest reasons why Irvine is so popular. So here we have Orange County right here, and then one of the big reasons why Irvine has become the big destination that it is look at where it is. It is right in the center. It is literally the geographic center of Orange County. And then, Sean, do you want to just go into like these major freeways that merge in Irvine and then, you know, the things that are happening here? And this is just one of the big reasons why Irvine is so popular. It is so convenient.
Yeah, so basically, as far as like you were mentioning, so we're like Irvine is a geographic center of Orange County in of itself, right? So besides all the other reputation stuff that it has, geographically speaking, it's just very convenient to get to anywhere you want to in Southern California rather easily. So that's main reason being it's one geographic center, but two major freeways like, you know, going through here. So the 405 and 5 freeways are the two major freeways in Southern California, and they intersect actually in the tip of Irvine itself. And so this makes it super easy to go to and from Irvine to wherever you need to go to. And on top of that, you know, when we're talking about Irvine itself, and you were mentioning to me about, like, let's say, you know, the fact that, yes, Orange County, Irvine, we do have traffic, you know, we are, you know, a metropolitan area. However, it's not as bad as our peers. And a lot of that has to do with, one, actually a decent amount of freeways. If you can see, a lot of roads run through here. But on top of that, we have major arteries, major arteries running through here. And these aren't 2-lane roads or winding roads or whatever. These roads are massive. Like, they're about like 8-10 lanes across. So they're almost like freeways in and of themselves. So it's super easy to go from point A to point B without having to go through the freeways. They actually move pretty fast too. So before we continue, I'm Sean Dazad.
And I'm Courtney Dazad, and we are licensed real estate agents here in the state of California.
And if you're watching this channel, you might be thinking, wow, Sean, I love Orange County. I love the glitz. I love the glamour. I love the impeccable weather. I can't wait to move out here now. The problem is I'm not local, and maybe out of state, I may be even out of the country, and so I don't know what to do. And I totally get that. That's why we're going to reach out to us so we can have that conversation, really find out specifically what you're looking for. We give you your boots on the ground. I work with a team of people, so someone's always available for you, depending on what it is that you're looking for. We can do a virtual tour of the property. We can even tour the neighborhood, giving you a really good sense of what you're looking for. So when you do come out here, your time is spent super efficiently. So what you want to do is you want to give us a call or shoot us a text.
Yes, that number is a cell phone, so you can call us or text us, or you can use WhatsApp if you're outside the country. Yeah, I would say Irvine, it's interesting because whenever I'm in Irvine, I'm always noting to myself that it actually doesn't feel as horrible in terms of the traffic. Again, not to say that there isn't horrible traffic, because there is, but it's just like Irvine is so well planned. I mean, yes. That's what it's known for, is its planning. If traffic is bad in Irvine, then you better believe it is 20 times worse in so many other places in Southern California, you know?
You better believe that's a paddling?
Yes, you better believe that's a paddling. Yes, it's so well planned. I mean, convenience. This is what Irvine, if you come to live in Irvine, you will just become so spoiled with just how convenient everything is. It's just so well planned. And then do you want to talk about where the 405 and the 5 meet and like what that is?
Yeah, so when we're mentioning the 405 and 5 freeways, they intersect right there, right? And basically what's nice about it is that right at this intersection, this is what they call the Irvine Spectrum area. And basically one thing that it's known for is it's a huge shopping and dining destination. It is a mega mall. It's an outdoor mall. It's got movie theaters. It's got restaurants. It's got entertainment options. It's got shopping options, tons of different stores, and like so you have your Targets, you have your Nordstroms, you have like a bunch of things going on here. Of course, there's a Costco right across the freeway, so that's super important. So like you have all this stuff happening right here, right? So I'm old enough to remember that when they actually initially built out the first phase of the Irvine Spectrum. Having seen that, and that looked, ridiculous, and then having, 5-10 phases they added to it since then, where again, these parking lots used to be like, it used to remind me of Wally World in National Lampoon's Vacation. It was just a massive theme park level parking lot. And now that thing is gone. And, they've actually had to build parking structures because they just ate into all that parking lot with more buildings for, again, shopping and dining options.
Yeah, and then another thing about the Irvine Spectrum is that it is a huge corporate headquarters as well. So not only is it an entertainment destination, but it's also a destination for jobs. And then, so that's so Irvine is the economic center of Orange County. It has the most corporate headquarters, it has the most jobs, all of that stuff, but the Spectrum isn't the only spot in Irvine. So another reason why people love Irvine, because it's so convenient to where a lot of people work, right? So they're not having to drive very far. So we obviously have the Spectrum as one big job hub. And then you want to go into some of the other ones?
Yeah, so another major job hub is University of California, Irvine. So this is a top tier university. It's like, I don't know, like depending on the rankings in the year, it's like 34th or something like that. So obviously this is both public and private schools throughout the country, right? So this is a very highly acclaimed, highly rated school. And with any major university like that, you're going to have tons of jobs, not just for the faculty and all that stuff, but also just all the little like commercial campuses that sprout out, in the periphery, like, in the fringes of the university itself. So tons of employment opportunities happening there. And of course, the airport, this is the major airport in Orange County. So John Wayne Airport is right here. You have, again, a ton of office buildings and stuff. So John Wayne Airport, Irvine borders it. I mean, I guess John Wayne Airport is it's like Santa Ana, Irvine, Costa Mesa, and Newport. So you have a bunch of cities that are like obviously just neighbor it, but Irvine benefits from that relationship certainly by having a ton of office buildings right next to John Wayne Airport. Actually, in fact, you used to work in one of the office buildings right there. Yeah. So there's just tons of again employment options, and again there's throughout. I mean, we're not Red Hill, Irvine, like there's I mean there's so. It's like,
and then at the airport
you can work here, let's just all of this.
Well, and then the airport area as well, it's not just Irvine that has the big corporate headquarters. Then you got Newport Beach and then parts of Santa Ana, parts of Costa Mesa. Like, there's just it's like the center of economy here in Orange County is the Irvine area.
Yeah, in the vicinity of,
for sure.
So geographic location is convenient. Like, shopping dining options are awesome. I mean, we talked about one of them. There's several throughout the county, but I mean, throughout Irvine itself. But, the Spectrum is definitely the most notable one. And on top of that, you just have tons of different housing options and education options and all this stuff here.
Yeah, and we're not going to go into every neighborhood in this video because we have many, many videos that do that. Just subscribe to our channel and then take a look out of all the the map videos that we have of Irvine, all the touring videos of Irvine.
Driving tours.
Yeah, for example, here if you go to our channel, you can see we have a big tour of Irvine. These are all of the cities that we've toured, and more are coming. They're just hard to do. So this one has proved to be quite popular, as you might imagine, because people love Irvine, and it's pretty long. It's 45 minutes. So yeah, if you want to get more into like the nitty gritty of the different neighborhoods, not only do we have tours, but we also have map videos. But then just quickly, do you want to kind of just like go over like what we call like the flatlands and then like the Great Park and then like this area of Irvine, just real quickly? It has different areas that kind of give you different things.
So you're asking me to be quick.
Yeah, I know.
She's just like pulling on my shirt, like, come on.
Yeah,
like,
he can't do that.
I can kind of.
He loves to talk.
dive into these things. So yeah, so basically.
And also he loves to talk. Whenever we go somewhere, he's always like talking to someone. I'm like, why are you talking? I'm like, we need to leave. What are you doing?
So having said all that, so we are in the, so as far as Irvine goes, we kind of like, it's kind of like three different topography kind of layouts, right? So the lay of the land. So basically, if you're looking at, from 405 up into about Portola, like, is just flat. Like, this is where you kind of have, like, think of the Brady Bunch thing. So this is like, we always kind of like, again, if you're going to have a criticism of Irvine, which is, again, tough to have, but if you are going to, this flatlands area, builders are very good at maximizing space. So you have, like, think of that Brady Bunch where you have your house in the center of the grid of 9 squares. And basically, you have 3 neighbors in front, 3 neighbors back, 3 to the side. Like you have neighbors all around you, right? So it can be tricky to have like a lot of privacy and that kind of stuff, and even for a single family residence.
Yeah, and tends to have smaller yards
and
too.
no views.
And no views, yeah.
And so
you do feel packed in a little bit.
Yeah, so they pack you like sardines a little bit. So there is that, right? And
sure.
And of course, this is a mixture of condos, townhomes, and single family residences, of course. And then as you get a little bit, this area out here, you start to have a bit more, like it's a little bit more hilly and that kind of thing. And then as you go west of the 405 freeway, really, this is also, the topography is a bit hilly. So you have views here. Because you're west of the 405 freeway, honestly, the weather is a bit better as far as it's more temperate. So you're that much closer to the coast. Again, giving you an idea. And again, I know people are going to be laughing at us because we're splitting hairs here, but like, every mile counts. So like when you're like this close to the ocean, again, you're next to some expensive.
Well, that's Newport Coast. So that is
Newport Coast and Connemara, like right here. So
some of the most expensive real estate in the world, adjacent to Irvine.
Yeah, and this area right here ain't cheap. So like so you're like, when we're talking about Shady Canyon and Turtle Ridge and stuff, and even Turtle Rock to that extent, you do it's a bit on the more pricey side. So Shady Canyon and Turtle Ridge is a bit newer. So as far as I guess we're talking like kind of in this vicinity, is a little bit newer. Shady Canyon's known for just having more land, views, newer, like mansions really. Like it's it's gated community, all that stuff. Turtle Ridge can also have some of that, some gated community and nicer, newer stuff. Turtle Rock's a bit on the older side. You do have views though, because again, the topography again west of the 405 freeway is more hilly, so you don't feel as packed in because again, it's hilly, so you can't really. It kind of helps aid in that whole thing.
Yeah.
So you do have that.
And then, do you want to just real quick talk about the Great Park area, which is new construction, which for new construction is very rare in Orange County because Orange County is pretty much built out. And then another thing that makes it even more rare is that it's centrally located new construction.
Yes, this is very hard to find in Orange County. So it's a mature area, and I know people are going to laugh when we talk about this stuff. Like literally anything built 1990 and newer is new. Like is newer property.
Yeah.
And again, in a lot of other areas, that's like ancient.
Yeah.
I mean,
and then also you should say, and then you always bring this up too, it's like, but it's not that Orange County isn't also that old, right? You're not getting many homes that are like built in 1900. Like it's really like the 1960s on up, right? So
yeah, and in Irvine in particular, it's more like 1970s.
Yeah,
mid 1970s on up is where a lot of Irvine was built.
Yeah,
and then obviously up into today, it's just that. Just because it has been, again, this is all throughout Orange County, honestly, like where you have very few, like South Orange County, you might have a lot of stuff built around the year 2000 and slightly newer. But in general, Orange County's just been built out. And so it is, like you were saying, it is rare to have like new construction in a it's a very centralized location because where do you have this swath of land where that hasn't been developed? And the reason why is that this used to be the site of the El Toro Marine Air Base, where it was decommissioned back in the 1990s. And so they built this whole idea of this whole Great Park thing. As we've talked about before, not that great, at least for the locals, because we were, was promised something different.
Yeah.
But
although you do have to make a distinction between the Great Park and then the neighborhoods.
Like, I think
the Great Park neighborhoods are fantastic. Like I love the Great Park neighborhoods. The Great Park itself, I mean, it's great for a local
fields,
park.
If you are doing AYSO stuff, like if you're doing soccer tournament stuff, so you have a bunch of stuff happening in Great Park as far as like activities, again, mostly for locals, honestly. It's like just a place to go. But then the development around Great Park, again, this is happening to present day.
Yeah.
And so you're able to get like either newer or brand new construction happening here. And it's, again, very rare to have that happen in Orange County, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're done with the map. Like, again, we can go way, way deeper. I mean, you can spend hours on the map because Irvine just has all these different little pockets.
Yeah.
And again, feel free to check out our other videos as we get deeper into all these little areas.
Yeah. So one resource that we really like to use to show, sort of just add some credence to what we're saying, we're not just like making this up, is niche.com. And Irvine is ranked by niche.com as an A+, a great place to live. I've seen Irvine get on many lists over the years, different, media outlets saying it's one of the nicest places to live in the United States. And it's a really, really nice place to live. Niche.com gives it an A+. And then, so let's just go down.
So it has about 300,000 people.
Yeah, about 300,000 people. And then, so it says it's one of the healthiest cities in America. And part of that is because it's just so, like, the weather is so nice. Like, there is no weather better than coastal Southern California. Like, on down from San Diego on up to Santa Barbara, like, you're not going to get better weather. So,
not put that against anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world. It's not to say that, sometimes it's not to say, sometimes it doesn't get hot. Of course it does. Not to say sometimes it doesn't rain. Of course it does. But, we are on planet Earth. But it's about as perfect as you can get on planet Earth. So you see people all the time, like outside, on the trails, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, healthiest places, that's like the farmer's market.
Oh, yeah, and that's true. There's a big, I love the Irvine Farmer's Market. It's huge. It's huge every Saturday. Like, you can honestly get anything that you want there. It's absolutely fantastic.
And it's very diverse food. Like, so all different, like, it's sourced from a ton of different, like, spots in California, and it's great.
It's great. It's absolutely fantastic. And then you may have heard of Irvine. Again, we always like to tell the story that we were in London. Somebody was asking us, where are you from? We're like, oh, we're from Orange County, California. He had no idea what we were talking about. And then he's like, well, I've been to Irvine.
Is it close to there?
Is it close to there? And we're like, yeah, Irvine is in Orange County. People just know what Irvine is. And part of the reason is because niche.com, and this is not surprising to me, it ranks Irvine number 4 in cities with the best public schools in America. So you may have heard of Irvine because you may have heard of the Irvine Unified School District. So we actually just did a video about this. There was actually another ranking that just came out, like OC schools rank among nation's best in the latest U.S. News & World Report. And even though we're talking about Irvine in this video, in that video we were talking about it's not just Irvine that has great schools, but you may not be surprised that, so this was ranking high schools, that all of Irvine's high schools, except for Portola, and that's because Portola is so new, it doesn't have any data yet. But here are Irvine's high schools. So Northwood, University, Woodbridge, Irvine, and then this is in Irvine, even though it's Tustin Unified. And then Portola did not make the list because it's too new. It's in like the Great Park area, so they don't have enough data. It's just not even ranked or anything like that. So not surprising that you're seeing Irvine so high on all of these schools. So, Oh, that's interesting. I actually just didn't notice this.
Newsflash, 2024.
These rankings just came out. That's so interesting. I was preparing this video and I didn't even look at this. So now Irvine Unified back to number 1, beating out Laguna Beach.
Which is saying something because Laguna Beach,
is so small.
Fantastic school district. It's a very small, like number of students is 25. So this Irvine's got 15 times the amount.
Yeah, so, I mean, with 2,500 students, I mean, you're so small. It's much harder to have, like, that robust of a school district when you have 36,000 students. So, yeah, it's just, Irvine is known for having great schools, and these kinds of things, back it up. So now let's talk about the elephant in the room, and that is cost of living. Ooh.
Okay, so there's a con.
If there is a con, and let's talk about where it comes from. Obviously, you get groceries. Oh, it's pretty good. So 100 is average. So, groceries. Oh, that's pretty good. Health. Actually, for all the bad things that you hear.
You don't get sick here. It's like, the weather, you don't get the change of climate.
Well, and I would say the healthcare is better in California in terms of the cost. Like, what you get for the price. Like, you can say what you want about.
Other places are like,
yeah, you can say what you want about California healthcare, but about California, but I will say in my experience that, like, the cost, like what you're actually putting out, I would actually agree with that number, which is kind of surprising.
Utilities.
That's
you're not really turning on.
You're not turning them on that much. That's why. It's not that electricity is cheap, because it ain't. It's very expensive. It's just that you don't use it that much. And then miscellaneous, it's probably a little higher, but.
So as a general whole, this isn't too bad. But why are we at 181 out of 100?
Yeah, because housing is 3.5 times the price.
And honestly, this is being kind.
It is.
Sorry.
Okay.
It's even more expensive than that. And it's very competitive.
Oh, yeah. So Sean is the one who works with the clients. And man, like Irvine, it never lets up. No matter what's going on in the country, in the county, Irvine just, look at that. Look, it just never stops. It just keeps going, going, going.
Oh, yeah. You go 5 years out. It's just... Again, it's just a very strong... Again, this is the median price, right? So if we go single family, Woo!
2.1, yeah.
Like, that's just telling you the sheer level of demand, right? This, they aren't driving up these prices just because. It's just because everyone, people love Irvine. They want to be, again, well,
it's also world famous, right? Like,
it's got the
Sean
notoriety.
gets so many calls for Irvine, right? And then if you just want to compare just to Orange County prices, which obviously are not cheap, like Orange County is 1.1, right? Yeah. So Irvine for all home types is 1.42.
This is inclusive of like condos and houses and townhomes.
Yeah, whereas Orange County itself, Orange County ain't cheap, is 1.1, so well above the median. So just because, Irvine is highly competitive, like Sean said, like you're going to be getting multiple offers no matter what, like no matter time of year. Sometimes, some of Sean's clients, they decide that there are other areas that give them a lot of what they're looking for in Irvine. And so in this video, and again on our channel, we have many videos that talk about this, but we give areas, like 5 top areas outside of Irvine to live. So these are some other options that Sean will give his clients and be like, maybe you want to consider this place, maybe you want to consider this, and then they end up liking it.
Yeah, and that's why, whenever I have people reaching out, what I like to do is get on a Zoom call and basically go over specifically, again, I love to get your input about where you want to go, but I go, well, why do you want to be there? What are the attributes? You have to be somewhere close to work. Is it the schools? What is it that's important for you? Like, what hobbies do you have? Because what you might find is that Irvine itself, I like to give people options because we're dealing with a tight market. Well, there's no way to sugarcoat it, right? So there's not that many homes on the market, and people, have to be pretty aggressive. And so what I like to do is at least make that pool of available homes or potential homes bigger for you. So we go, okay, well, what are you looking for in Irvine? Okay, why not consider some of these other areas that also have similar attributes? Again, just to kind of give you some more options. And that's, again, what helps when we're having this discovery call, really.
Yeah, because like we mentioned in this other video that we did, it's not, of course, Irvine Unified School District, world famous, right? And like we're mentioning, like all the high schools are in the top, but it's not just Irvine.
Yeah, exactly.
Like here's Anaheim Union, like Fullerton. This is in Santa Ana, like, let's see, Garden Grove, Tustin, Laguna Beach, like this one, Capistrano. So that's in like Mission Viejo area. This is in Newport Beach. This one's San Juan Capistrano. This is all over Huntington Beach, Fullerton, Placentia. So, if you're like calling Sean because you're wanting the schools, it's not Irvine isn't the only place that offers that.
And again, and also with any of these rankings, right? Everyone, it's still subjective.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
This is like one of those things where we give you options, and then on top of that, what you're doing is when we're actually let's say you're zeroing on a home, obviously feel free to investigate that school that it's zoned for to make sure it makes sense for you, because these rankings are just going to give you some ideas. I always defer to what the parent is looking for, of course.
For
so
sure.
That's where you're reach out, dig in a little bit deeper, making sure that that's a good fit for you, because Irvine Unified School District is ranked number 1. We've had people move out of there because it was too competitive.
Yeah.
So there's a dark side to it too. We've alluded to this in other videos. So sometimes it's just too competitive, and they want their kids to have a more, again, not to say you can't have a well-rounded upbringing. It's just that the temptation is there to kind of keep up with the Joneses as far as your student to be or whatever, may just feel compelled to really up their game, and where they're completely consumed by it. So we've had people move out of there, and also we've known people that moved into there for that reason. They want their kid to be really, again, challenged and everything. So it's all across the board. So this is very much a specific subjective thing that really, obviously, you, the parent, if you're that,
yeah,
can only gauge.
Yeah, I always recommend, are there any Facebook groups that are part of the school? What are people saying there? What does the principal say? Go to the school, talk to the principal, talk to some
administrators
parents,
and stuff. Yeah.
Talk to some parents. Every school has its pluses and minuses.
Exactly. You don't a 7 out of 10 ranking. What does that even mean? We know in schools that are 7 out of 10, and really, depending on the program, you're 10 out of 10, as far as a ranking. And so it's, it's all across the board.
Yeah. Now, another reason that people call for Irvine is because they hear Irvine is in the news all the time. Irvine is the safest city of its size for the 17th year. According to FBI data, and that's cities are 250,000 population or greater.
And Irvine's 300,000 roughly.
Yeah, Irvine's about 300,000. And this, actually, I'm waiting for we're going to see soon whether or not it made it for the 18th year.
At the number one position.
The number one position to be continued. But yeah, this is like, if it is for the 18th year, then you probably might see some news stories about it. And then if you go...
And it is funny, like, 'cause I get people reaching out, and sometimes they're going, okay, I want to be in a gated community in Irvine. I'm going, I guess, it's not,
well, everyone's different.
Yeah, exactly. Well, gated communities, obviously, you have higher association dues and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
So I guess it's everyone's different, but it's just funny and then there are communities that are gated within gated, like, so you're double gated. So
yeah,
it's
guard
all,
gated.
Yeah. It's like Shady Canyon literally has 2 levels of gates in some of these pockets, and you're going, wow, and you're in Irvine too. So you're very specific about not wanting other people in.
Yeah, and if you want to look at the numbers themselves, like, you can see that it's well below the national average. So.
And again, we always tell people, like we were talking about education, crime and safety is such a subjective thing too. Like, what I find as safe is not necessarily what someone else will, and that's, again, why we always recommend, if you're zeroing on specific pockets, you go to those different areas at different times of the day and even in the evening to make sure you're, obviously do your own research too, because what I tell you is safe
it's so subjective.
Again, it's so subjective. I'd be doing a massive disservice, and this is where obviously you only know what you feel is safe or not.
Yeah, even like Sean's mom will say, she'll like say something's not safe, and I'm like, are you serious? Like, it's like everyone's different, right?
Yeah, and it's the funniest things. Yeah, you just, again, that is completely subjective.
Yeah. And then one other thing, you probably have heard, one of the criticisms of Irvine is that every neighborhood looks like a different shade of beige. There's not much organic, charming variety. If you're looking for charming architecture, you're not really going to find that in Irvine because the vast majority is in HOAs, except for very, very small pocket. Do you want to talk about, the HOAs? What were you going to say?
Yeah, so basically it's just that one of those things that some people, everyone's different, right? So it's like, I never minded HOAs, like, although every HOA can also be a little bit different. Some can be more overbearing than others. They can have more specific criteria of what paint color they want in the house. And so I've been in these situations where some people are like, my home is my castle. I do not want another layer of oversight over my home. Well, in general, you're better served to actually look elsewhere. So, because Irvine, as a general whole, is got HOAs everywhere. There again, like you were mentioning, there are some pockets, and again, reach out to us to kind of let us know what's important to you, what's not, because some of these HOAs do obviously they're gated, so you're going to have you can have that. They might have similar amenities, and actually, that also jogs my memory as far as amenities go. Irvine is known for having these, so they have these villages, these little sub-neighborhoods within Irvine that have these community associations for the residents and their guests to partake in, let's say, the pools, the lagoon stuff if you're in Woodbridge, or like the tennis courts, so they have all these, like, and this is throughout the entire city. They have all this stuff, like all these amenities that are available. So that's a really nice thing. So like if you're looking to buy a home but you want a pool, sometimes you don't actually need to pay for the price of a pool and the upkeep of it because your association has one. And most likely it does, whether or not you're only in your little sub-association or within that village of Irvine itself.
Yeah, like me personally, I actually think a pool in Orange County is a waste of money, me personally.
Some people really like their pools, though.
Some people do, but I just feel like it never gets, like, that hot. So, like, the actual time that you're using the pool, you might as well just go to the nice association pool. At least that's my personal opinion. Everyone's different.
Yeah, exactly. That's where, because again, then with the association pool, you maybe have, again, they have different sizes. It might be a lap pool. Because again, your sliver of pool is great, but again, you still have upkeep and all that other stuff too, right? So again, if it doesn't make sense for you to have a pool, you got the association right there.
Or maybe I just hate the summer, so I just don't want a pool.
There you go. And remember, we are licensed realtors here in the state of California. So as much as we love making these videos, what we love more is to help you with your real estate needs. So whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, what you want to do is you want to give us a call or shoot us a text.
Yes, that number is a cell phone, so you can call us or text us, or you can use WhatsApp if you're coming from outside the country.